first of all, I'm sure all you guys are thinking, why the hell lunch and learns are so important and relevant to accelerating your career growth. But I have to say, throughout my career, looking back, it's very frustrating to hear how many meetings I've been in where it's more of a one-way conversation between the vendor to a room full of people that are doing more lunching than learning. So yes, one of the major perks in our industry is the lunch and learns, and you get the free food, you sometimes get the swag, and the occasional midday party. In this case, our friends at Liquid likes to coin the Liquid and Learns. But at the end of the day, if you think about it, it's the perfect forum to really accelerate your career in a safe environment, right? And really, what I'm here to do today is really to help you, give you a very simple step-by-step guide to really prepare and run lunch and learns and really follow up in a way that can help elevate and exhibit true qualities of a individual that is a innovator and a thought leader, as well as a strategist. This goes beyond just checking off the boxes of your day-to-day, being able to manage campaigns and demonstrate your ability to manage people, but really what takes you to the next level and accelerate your career path is really demonstrating beyond that job description of your responsibilities, is being able to show that you can innovate, and through just simply understanding what that product does and the person you're inviting, and helping them prepare for their presentation is really helpful. It also helps demonstrate your thought leadership because you're able to apply what you're learning and really cater the lunch and learn to your organization clients. And obviously, strategists, when you execute, it becomes very important in not just providing strategy, but actual strategy that is executable. So really, if we think about it in 3 simple steps, just going off of the preparation, that's the first step. Your proactiveness in preparing and helping partner with the client, with the vendor, really helps demonstrate, to all your peers and even your senior management, on your hunger for innovation, and being client first, and thinking about the solution that the vendor you're bringing in is actually relevant to your clients. So the first thing at the very least is to think about beyond, not waiting until there's, you're about to turn in an RFP and that's when you start scheduling, whether it's lunch and learns but really think about outside of that, outside the RFP process, just being proactive about thinking about what industry trends are happening right now and latest tech innovations that really resonate well with, even if it's not related to a client, you can kind of think about this could be relevant to a client and being proactive about developing a solution that you can proactively bring to your clients. That's really key. Number 2 is when you do identify someone that you want to bring in, really spend that time, that extra 30 minutes to prepare them and partner with them in a way where you're basically giving them the rundown of the types of clients that you have at the agency, the type of people that will be invited, and really have them cater it. It's very frustrating when I see the vendors come in with a media kit that is just regurgitating to the team in the room, and a lot of times it may not even be relevant to the team in the first place. So really catering it is important. And being that person to drive that preparation is a very critical first step. And lastly, when you do invite vendors, rather than just sticking to the salesperson coming in, I would highly encourage to also bring in someone that understands the product from the vendor side. How to leverage data and how to really think about the product roadmap and how maybe you can help influence the product development on their end to cater it more for the needs of your agency and your client. Next is during the lunch and learn, being very clear. If you think about it, during a lunch and learn is probably the safest environment where you can start practicing to start showing that you are able to communicate and be in front of the client and present to them. I mean, the salesperson that's there is basically incentivized to agree with you, and, you know, for every stupid question you may ask, or smart questions. But the bottom line is, if you can't even comfortably feel like you can lead a conversation to a client with the vendor, how can you do that with the client confidently, right? So at the very least, when you are the person bringing in the vendor, kind of proactively be the one to go to the front and really introduce and explain to the group why they're here. And that's just, you know, simple preparation, right? Number two is like really be that facilitator within the group, and as they present, really help kind of encourage more interaction with the group. A lot of times, like again, you know, there's always more lunching and learning or people on their laptops. Really encouraging, you know, your peers to get involved and really pay attention and be that facilitator. And lastly, you know, very simple is like just even have 3 to 5 questions prepared, and it just goes a long way, because not saying, you know, you could have some questions that inspire you during the presentation, but like it's, you know, as you prepare, you'll also be able to write down 3 to 5 questions, and that really goes a long way, because no one else probably in the room is prepared for that. So that really shows to everyone like you understand and you have a head start into, you know, how this vendor can be very applicable to your client. And then lastly, you know, in terms of the follow-up after the lunch and learn, if you think about the most lunch and learns end and like it goes into a black hole, and you know no one hears from them again. Maybe they send out the media kit that was presented, but really thinking about the you know, following through with whatever you've learned and really bringing it to life. At the very least, you know, the vendors, if you think about them, they are pretty much the PR arm of all agencies. They talk to other vendors, and it's at the very least when one vendor talks to another vendor and says, "Oh, I went to, you know, so-and-so agency. They have a great, you know, smart group of people, very engaged. It was a great experience to really partner with them, collaborate with them, and it wasn't just us presenting and people eating lunch. It was more of a interactive kind of brainstorming session. That, you know, that kind of buzz that, you know, goes from one vendor, and also they're not always at the same place. You know how vendors are jumping from one every 5 days, right? So if once they're at another agency or at another vendor, like they also remember, you know, which agencies are the ones that they really appreciate the most, and that really goes a long way. So you know, at the very least, you know, make sure you compile and send out notes and provide a, you know, summary. And really cater those notes to really highlight how, what the next steps are, and really even take it one step further and provide action items to relevant teams that maybe were interested in that solution, so that their clients can be a part of that solution process when you start thinking about how that vendor can apply that to those accounts. Next is really, you know, just saying thank you and following up with vendors and really negotiating a proof of concept. A lot of times, even if it's not relevant, you can, you know, really demonstrate within your organization that you're very strategic thinking and problem solving, and really negotiating with the client or with the vendor to proactively bring new solutions to a client that maybe are more of a proof of concept. And helping the vendor really figure out whether it's, you know, it's a strong solution. Because a lot of times, you know, vendors may bring in solutions that have not been really fully tested out yet, and being able to be the one within your organization to bring, you know, beta opportunities can go a long way, and really prove that, you know, innovative thinking. And then lastly, you know, when you know, managing up is really critical, right? So when you have this great idea and you know, bringing it to your boss or your boss's boss, and thinking about like this could be perfect for a solution that expands across the entire agency. You know, whether it's a platform that is helping you buy programmatic media better, or the use of data, whatever it is, and it impacts all clients. Really think about how you can position that and set up time with your boss's boss, and really share with them your thoughts, and really show your ability to have some strong strategic thinking from the client's or from the agency's perspective, and really highlight the fact that this is a very, very important solution that can really impact all clients, right? And one way to think about that is during the preparation, when you're preparing and think about what trends and things like that, what solutions, think about what are some of the industry-wide challenges and how can technology solve for those challenges. And a good example is think about ad fraud. It's a very prevalent, timely topic right now. It's still very early days for advertisers to really have a cross-platform-wide solution to really monitor and track how much ad fraud is going on, but really doing some research and seeing what out there is in development to improve ad fraud and block ad fraud and things like that. Kind of doing that, taking that proactive step is an example of a industry-wide challenge that you're kind of showing that you want to take time out of your day and help the agency be positioned as that thought leader to solve this industry-wide problem. And then once you go through that process, you think about what that solution will look like. You bring it to your senior management, and they will help partner with you and iron out the kinks and things like that. But once you get to a point where it's actually executed, and maybe they start with your own clients because you're able to present it to the client and they test it out, it proves successful. And then you're able to roll it out across the agency. That's a very that's kind of the dream to show your impact across not just your own client but for the agency. So key takeaways I would say is very simply just remember to eat not just physically but like in terms of some tips here. So to remind as a summary, really first step, really educate yourself when selecting and partnering with your vendor when you're preparing for it, right? Think about the trends and industry problems that you can solve for, not just for your client, but thinking more broadly and holistically. Next is, really assist the presenter or the vendor that's coming in by really preparing and asking smart questions and encouraging group interaction. And lastly, don't just let this lunch and learn end after eating. Think about how what you just learned can be transformed into actionable knowledge, whether it's for your client or your peers, or at the agency level.
Great, thanks, Gabe. There's still a couple minutes on the clock if we have any questions. We have one right here. Convenient.
A lot of times we struggle when we have vendor lunch and learns or meetings in general that it's a bit too salesy and not educational enough. Do you have any advice on setting up expectations on that in a nice way? Exactly.
Yeah, I think during the preparation portion, really spending that extra 30 minutes before they even come in to make sure they are aware, at the very least, what clients you have and providing them more context into the objectives and things like that. So that they can really tailor their presentation. Just tell them your expectations are, I don't want you coming in to just regurgitate something I can just download from your website, like a media kit. You want it to be more custom to the needs of your peers and your agency.
Great. Any others? Oh, right. Oh, over there.
So as someone who represents an agency that does a lot of lunch and learns, we don't want to waste time and we don't want to be salesy, which is why I appreciate the perspective that you have working closely with the vendor to set expectations and context. But what can you do to help ensure that decision makers are in the room? Because for us, we don't want to waste anyone's time for sure, and we want to cut to the chase, and there's nothing that cuts faster than when the CFO is sitting there or the decision maker on the account is there. So help us.
You mean decision makers from the agency side or the sales side? Which?
From your perspective, in your company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to say whether you're an assistant planner or media planner or senior or supervisor, like we're all decision makers. We influence spend media spend and things like that. So that's why, I think it's very easy to stand out. If you're the only person in the room to really demonstrate those qualities of making decisions, it really, it's a very easy way to differentiate yourself from your peers. So that's why I think most lunch and learns, you come into the day, you don't even realize you have a free lunch that day. But if you are the person that really is planning ahead, you can really differentiate yourself from your peers and really partner with your vendor. They'll appreciate it a lot, and it helps make their job obviously upfront a little harder, but it helps them increase their win rates and things like that. And also they talk to other people within the industry, and it really helps highlight the agency's ability to think very strategically and not just getting free food. Yeah.
We're out of time, but there is a mic already seated, so this will be the last question. No pressure.
My question was kind of similar. I feel like a lot of people don't prioritize lunch and learns, and I have a hard time getting people into the room. Do you have any tips or tricks on how to get a bigger room or get people more excited about attending?
I would say, you can encourage it, but the fact that you're doing that, your boss can probably see that you're doing that. That's the point. It's the person that is trying recognizes the importance of the lunch and learn opportunity. Everyone else who doesn't understand that is not capitalizing on this easy opportunity to stand out. So, yeah, you can encourage your team and they'll lead by example. But if they're not smart enough to just do it themselves as well, it's their loss. But yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Gabriel. Appreciate it. I'll take that if you want.